What do you want to know? I've been sharpening knives for around 70 years, give or take a year or two. When I was in about the 6th, 7th grade, Dad had a castrating knife that my uncle cut linoleum with it and dulled it, and he was going to throw his knife away. And he had a small stone. I said, well, can I play with it? And he said, sure. He said, it ain't no good the way it is. So I started whittling away on the whetstone with it, and I finally got it razor sharp for him again.
How can you tell if it's sharp? That's a silly question, but how do you tell?
It drags.
Okay. So you're feeling a drag?
I'm feeling a drag, or you can run it across here, your thumbnail, and if you feel a drag, it's sharp.
And a dull knife?
A dull knife, you don't feel that drag.
So right across the thumbnail?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's nothing there at all.
There's nothing there at all. Now try that, and that I just had a few strokes on.
And it catches on you.
It drags because it's cutting in.
So you use just barely your fingertips and you can feel...
You can feel whether it's sharp or whether it's slick.
Yeah, like up here at the point, it's slick still.
Yeah. But, I've run my fingers, when I'm all said and done, I've got a lot of little cut spots on my fingers. Because when it's sharp, it would dig into your skin and make a scratch, actually.
Yeah. Kind of like when you fish, you wear your thumb out, your thumb and fish. Well, you catch only walleye, so you don't thumb those.
I don't thumb those, no. If you do, you got teeth marks in your hand. Knife sharp, you take a piece of paper and if it slices it, you got a sharp knife.
Now demo that real quick with a dull knife, one that I haven't touched yet. So you got a comparison of what that looks like.
Cut it. All it does is tear it.
Now let's see what we can do with a few strokes that you aren't going to count and what that'll do differently with paper.
I spent roughly 25 years in Superior and 10 years out here at Phillipsburg cutting meat. I had no schooling on it or anything else until I went to meat cutting school. And they says, well, this is the way you do it. Showed us. And I went in and I had my knife sharpened about half the time other people had their knives sharpened. I said, is this the way you want it sharpened? He looked at it. Well, yeah, how'd you do that? I said, I don't know. I just came naturally to me to sharpen a knife. In fact, I sharpened somebody else's knife because he couldn't get it sharp. He was back and forth. I can run a knife across a whetstone and tell you what kind of steel it's got in it, whether it's soft steel or whether it's hard steel. And your hard steel will hold an edge a whole lot better than soft steel was. You can put an edge on soft steel that it will shave you, but it will not hold the edge. It dulls fast. 22.5 degrees. I use it back and forth because you're cutting off steel going backwards, the same forward, and then you want to do the same number of strokes on the other side. And then when you finish up, you want to stroke it one side and then the other. A lot of people starts out just one stroke this way, one stroke this way. But I found out going back and forth is faster than just one stroke on a side because you're cutting both directions.
I would say the hardest part for me, I think, is holding the angle.
Yeah.
And
At 22.5 degrees is perfect on
The muscle memory that you got to have from however many times you run that's insane. It probably feels weird to do it at the wrong angle now.
Yeah. Yeah, which if you get too high an angle, you can put a sharp edge on it, but it won't last long.
Gotcha.
And if it's too flat, it's too thin out here on your cutting edge, and the edge will roll real easy.
Makes sense.
But, I could run that across my thumbnail, but it's just easier for me to use my fingers. I can feel it drag on my fingers just as easy as I can the thumbnail.
Well, it was plain as day where you could feel that little bit of drag through the middle where you'd already sharpened it a little bit, but the point still was not sharp at all.
Yeah, it was slick.
Did they teach you that in meat cutting school? Drag the knife across your thumbnail?
No. No. But that's something I picked up later. And you can see the filing and oil that's coming off on the knife blade there. That's the reason why I say use water on it. Now this is actually an oil bath stone, but I found out water works about as good. Water and soap that will cut that off as a stone, and you ain't got such a big mess with oil.
Gotcha.
Water you can dump down the drain or anywhere. It pulls the filings out of the stone. Your knives the steel has got oil in it. You may not think so, but it's got some oil in it, and the oil and the filings off of your knife will clog up your stones. And most people stops too soon a sharpening knife. They think they've got it sharp, or they need to spend 3 to 5 more minutes on it, on your fine stone, stroking it back and forth, one side and then the other. And you think you got it sharp, spend another 5 minutes on it, and then you've really got it sharp. This stone, I just use this one stone because it's got a coarse and fine edge on it. This oil stone, as it's called, has got 3 different stones in it. You got a coarse, a fine, and a medium stone on it. I usually start out on the coarse, go to the medium, and then back to the fine to finish. Well, usually you start out on a coarse stone to cut off your knife down to a sharper edge, and then you use a fine stone to finish it. If a knife is sharpened right, it will have like teeth marks in it, like a saw blade. If you look under a microscope using a coarse stone, you can see all these grooves that's in it that looks like a saw blade. And you use your fine stone to hone them down to where it's sharp. Feel that?
Yeah. And I don't feel every place it kind of drags. Maybe just a tiny bit at the that last 1/4 inch, which is, I always struggle with those, especially a knife that's got a little more curve in it or something holding that.
Well, you rotate it around, see?
Okay.
You bring it around. Follow that angle and just bring it around. Your razors takes a different bevel than a knife does. It's flatter bevel. And there's a razor stone that is as slick as glass that they sharpen your straight edge razors on that you shave with. And then they strap them to smooth out the wire edges if there's any. That's what strapping does.
So this is the one that we just did this before we started.
Yep, that just tore it. But now, that ain't tearing, that's cutting.
Yeah. This would be something definitely you guys should try at home, is to get a piece of paper, take some of your knives, especially the ones you think are sharp, and see, can you slice right through it like that?
That's slicing. That knife, if you can see any hair on my arm, that's shaving. The stone will last a long time if you keep it wet. If you run it dry, it cuts more of your stone away. But keeping it wet, it cuts it off the knife rather than the stone. And like I say, even a diamond stone will fill up with pilings from your knife and oil. You use it dry more than what you can in a synthetic or a natural stone. But after a while, you need to take soap and water and a scrub brush and scrub the filings out of your diamond stone. I do have a razor stone, which, like I say, is smooth as glass. If you really want to fine tune an edge, use a razor stone on it. And I mean, that's what they sharpen their straight edge razors with in the barber shops. There they are.
So what are these?
It's just diamond stone, and they call it whetstone. Got coarse on one side, fine on the other, which I've used this dry too much because it's ground out a whole lot of my cutting material. And this is diamond stone. You can use it dry. I suggest using it wet because you can, using it wet, washing out the filings off of your knife.
Because the filings end up filling the cutting surface, and then
Right.
the stone doesn't work.
Right, and near as well. It will work, but not near as well. And then if you really want it sharp, you go to a razor stone.
So this would be for like a straight razor?
Yeah. And you can feel the difference in this stone and them other stones.
That's really fine comparatively.
Right. It's almost like glass. My favorite part is I enjoy seeing how sharp I can get a knife over a dull knife, and I just enjoy sharpening knives. I learned it when I was young. I went through meat cutting school, and I could sharpen a knife faster than anybody else that was in school. Which you feel there on this side, I've got a rolled edge already.
Yeah, you can feel like this side, it's my thumb runs smooth across it, and this side it hooks. You can just feel barely a drag.
Yep. And that's that rolled edge, which you can take that rolled edge out on it. Now listen, well, you do it and you can feel it.
Okay. So we're going backwards.
Backwards.
It's got more drag there.
Yep.
That sounds different.
And it feels different.
Mm-hmm. And now it's gone.
Yep. And it's gone with it.
So I don't feel that.
Then you can stroke it towards the up, just like that. Goes towards the cutting edge.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you should have it sharp. Drag it over your thumb and see.
Yep.
There's chunk of paper.
Just like that.
Just like that.
That's
Very
crazy.
simple.
That's crazy.
The reason why other people should learn to sharpen knives is so that they don't cut their fingers off. A sharp knife would cut a finger, but a dull knife would take a finger off. How's that, Jose? Put that in your pipe and smoke it.